Hi there, my name is Jessica Jones and I am a registered dietitian nutritionist here at UCSF in the Student Health and Counseling Department. One of the most common complaints that I get from my patients and my students is that they have so much going on that they really just don't have time to focus on their eating habits or their diet. But I'm here to show you that that doesn't have to be the case. And in this presentation, I'm going to outline the exact steps that you need to take in order to make sure that you can still eat healthy while you have a busy schedule. So let's just jump right in. Here we are with those trusty slides. And again, today's quick presentation is on healthy eating when you're just too busy. I love this meme because it basically outlines what a lot of us are feeling or have felt in the past. And what it says is me trying to excel in my career, maintain a social life, drink enough water, exercise, text everybody back, stay sane, survive, and be happy. And it's a picture of Janet Jackson looking miserable. So who can relate to this? Because I know there have been times when I definitely can. Now I want to talk about one myth, one misconception, and one fact when it comes to eating healthy on a busy schedule. So let's just start with the myth. The myth is that being busy with school, work, friends, family, and all of those extra activities that you like to do means that you don't have time to eat healthy. I hear this every single day from my patients, and they tell me that they just have so much going on, and that means automatically that there's no time to do any kind of meal planning or have any preconceived thoughts about what they're going to eat throughout the day or throughout the week. And I'm going to say that is false. In the midst of all the chaos, one of the biggest misconceptions that I hear is that you'll start eating healthy once your schedule, quote unquote, dies down, and that now just isn't a good time. Again, something I hear every day, but I'm here to tell you guys that it never dies down. There will always be a million and one things on your to-do list. And so I think if you can master the art of eating healthfully in the chaos, you will do so well with eating healthy when things are a little bit more calm. So the key is to master the healthy eating when it is chaotic. And last but not least, the fact is that eating a healthy diet doesn't have to feel like one more thing on a to-do list designed to run you into the ground, just like that Janet Jackson picture that I showed earlier. Believe it or not, it is possible to eat healthy in a way that feels manageable even when you're busy. So how do you do it? Well, that's what we're going to talk about next. So step one is to plan, plan, plan. And remember, it's especially important for you to plan when you're busy because you have less time to think about meals on the go. And within your plan or your simple blueprint for what you're going to eat, make sure to keep it simple. Try to stick to, one pot dishes that don't require a lot of ingredients and have minimal cleanup. And if you're someone who feels like you don't have time to plan, you can also use a meal delivery service. And this is where they send you all of the ingredients that you're going to need to make a meal. And they have the instructions and also everything is measured out. So it goes really smoothly and also quickly. And there's a couple different options. Two of my favorites are Freshly and HelloFresh, but there are a ton of different meal delivery services out there today. If you feel like a meal delivery service may not be in your budget, which is fair, you can also consider a CSA or a farm box. Now, CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture, and this is basically where a farmer has different members of the community who pay a weekly rate for a weekly delivery of produce. And you have all this great local fresh produce to cook with, and you don't have to necessarily go to a grocery store to get it. So it's a great time saver. If you want to find a farm box in your area, you can visit the website localharvest.org. Another idea to help you plan and kind of get access to food quickly when you don't have time is Amazon Fresh. Some of my students like this and report using it, and they say that the prices are pretty comparable to what you would pay if you're going to a grocery store, but you can buy everything from the comfort of your own home. Step two is to buy in bulk and freeze for later. So I think it's a really good idea to kind of have a rough plan for all of the non-perishable items you'll need for the month and buy those all at once. Examples of non-perishables would be whole grains, beans, nuts, seeds, even your canned goods like tomato paste. You can just buy those one time in one shot and get your perishable items like your fresh fruits and vegetables on a weekly basis. So that way your weekly shopping can be pretty quick. And I like to do my kind of bulk one-time non-perishable shopping trip once a month, and I usually go to Trader Joe's, but Costco is another really great place for that, as well as Thrive Market, which is basically the online version of Costco for organic goods. And when you are cooking, especially batch cooking, which means making large portions of things, freeze the leftovers, because that way when you do have a week when you don't have a lot of time, or you are going out of town and you're getting back and you might not have time to go shopping, you can just go in the freezer and use those foods for your weekly meal prep. Step 3 is to focus on snacks. So I know people think that having healthy snacks is a bit of a chore, but in all honesty, it takes 5 minutes to make enough healthy snacks for the week. Okay, sometimes 10 minutes, but really it's not that much time. And some examples include chopped apple with almond butter or even peanut butter, Greek yogurt and fruit. You can do that in a parfait, maybe add a little bit of granola or cereal to that. You can do popcorn. I always love to do air popped at home and then add a little bit of olive oil and some herbs. And of course, there's almonds. You can add a tablespoon of dark chocolate chips with that, or things like broccoli and hummus. So kind of vegetables with your hummus. So if you focus on snacks and prepping those in the beginning of the week, one time, you can kind of just have them throughout the week as you go. Step 4 is to consider pre-prepped. There is a place for processed foods in your diet, and having pre-prepped or pre-chopped things is one of those times when I am pro-processed food if you don't have time. Again, Trader Joe's is great for doing pre-prep with foods, but all stores really do this. But I just know Trader Joe's sells things like pre-chopped butternut squash, which I love butternut squash, but sometimes it can be a pain to chop, let's be honest. And they also have pre-cooked chicken, pre-cooked rice and quinoa that's in the frozen section. And also for my folks who don't have time to hard boil an egg, they even have pre-cooked hard-boiled eggs, and the list goes on. So if you're in a pinch, you might find that some of these things are really helpful to make sure you can get those nourishing foods without spending a lot of time prepping them. Step 5 is to utilize quick cooking. Now, microwaves, sauteing, even your slow cookers are made for people on the go. So you can cook things like potatoes, vegetables, and even grains in the microwave for a quick weeknight dinner, or even when you're in the library between classes and you need a meal. And the slow cooker is great for when you know you're not going to have time to really cook throughout the day. You can kind of throw in a bunch of ingredients that you need for a hearty soup before leaving, and then you come home to a nice meal that's already ready to go. Step 6 is to make healthy eating choices when you're eating out. I know that a lot of folks think that eating out means you can't eat healthy, and that isn't the case. I think it's really important within your meal prep to decide which days you are going to be eating out so you can be realistic, but you can also do a little research beforehand. So one thing I recommend is checking menus online before arriving at a restaurant and finding out if they have healthier options. This is something really simple to do, especially if you know you're going out maybe for a friend's event and they told you the restaurant beforehand. It can often help to make a decision for what you're going to eat before you even get there, and you have the temptation of what everybody else is ordering. And I always recommend people have vegetables as part of your plate, and even if you can incorporate it into the meal, you can even have like a side of sauteed broccoli or even a simple side salad. And I always recommend that people split heavier foods like fries or dessert or even dishes like mac and cheese with the table. That way you guys can all enjoy some of these foods that might not be so healthy, but they're fun foods. But it doesn't have to mean that you feel like you're kind of overdoing it every single time you go out to eat. Step 7 is to practice mindful eating. This is probably the most important step because it doesn't matter what you're eating on a given day. As long as you're eating mindfully, you're a lot less likely to kind of overeat or overdo it time and time again. So it's really important to slow down and take that mental break to focus on eating. One way to focus on mindful eating is to count the number of times you chew each bite. So this way you can kind of slow down and even try to identify the different ingredients that you're eating. So I always recommend patients start with, a number in their head of how many times that they want to try to chew. 25 is a good amount of chews per bite, but maybe you even start with 10. If you're someone who feels like you inhale your food and eat really fast, 10 bites might be a good place to start for you. And again, savor all the flavors in your mouth as you're counting the amount of chews that you're having per bite. And this can really help with portion control. Last but not least, you always want to honor your hunger and respect your fullness. So eat when you're hungry and stop eating when you're full. It's that simple, but sometimes it takes a little bit of practice to get there. Time for the overview. So I just want to make sure that we kind of recap all of the different things we talked about. And remember, you may not do every single one of these things, but as long as you find maybe one or two things that you're not doing that you feel like might be helpful moving forward, I think it's worth it to try and do those things. So number one is to always start with meal planning and create a rough blueprint for what you plan on eating during the week. Number two is buy in bulk and freeze for later. So we're buying those non-perishables in bulk and we're freezing leftovers for later when we don't have a lot of time to cook. Number three is to prep a week's worth of snacks in advance. And remember, it's really important to keep them simple, you guys. It can be something as easy as having a Kind bar from the Nut and Spice line or even an RX bar. Just having those snacks on hand will make you a lot less likely to overeat because you're going a long period, from meal A to meal B. Number four is to consider pre-chopped and or pre-prepped ingredients when you need to. I have a lot of success with finding healthy pre-prep things at stores like Trader Joe's. And number five is to utilize quick cooking methods like the microwave and even sauteing. And you can cook almost everything in the microwave, from eggs to potatoes to fish even. Number six is to make healthy decisions when eating out. So for example, you can split dessert or heavier foods with the table and choose vegetable-based sides or mains. And last but not least, practice mindful eating. Always honor your hunger and respect your fullness, and this will help you be more present with your meals and not overeat. All right, so thanks so much for listening to my Healthy Eating on the Go presentation. Even if you're busy, even if you have no time, even if you're a student, even if you have an internship, it can be done. And hopefully you learned a tip or two that you can use moving forward. I am Jessica Jones, registered dietitian, nutritionist here at UCSF in Student Health and Counseling. And if you feel like you want to have an individual visit with me and kind of come up with a plan that works for your specific circumstances, you can go ahead and email me at jessica.jones@ucsf.edu to schedule an appointment. You can also schedule online by logging into your portal. And another great resource is the Student Health website. If you go to studenthealth.ucsf.edu/nutrition, there is a ton of material and recipes for eating healthy on the go. And of course, I have the Student Health newsletter as well, the nutrition newsletter specifically. So you can go to studenthealth.ucsf.edu/newsletter to sign up for that and get even more resources. Until next time, bye.